Did you miss this series? Let's pick up where we left off with Lost Belt 7. You look like someone tried to taxidermy a lion from memory. You are the greatest case for a plant from big anime because I've not seen such inflated popularity for such a mediocre character since solo leveling. You are by far the greatest disappointment in story writing in FGO, cause how are you losing to the Amnesia trope character? There's probably some kind of social commentary about how you immediately forgot about the Roman Empire and moved on to a new, more powerful ally. In your attempts to seem quirky and dastardly, you have instead been characterized as one of the most annoying characters in the game, to the point that I didn't even grace the rerun of your event with skipping. It's pretty bold to be going around proclaiming how proud you are to be our mother when your own children couldn't stand to be around you so badly that they completely severed the connection. Living proof that sunless people will forsake God upon seeing a scantily clad child. I knew a guy like you in college, whose entire personality was the drugs he did, and last I checked he's missing an eye from falling off a balcony and cracking his skull, which is still somehow better than you wound up. I get that you're supposed to be cool in training, but you really just exist as show debate for Maven Skahawk. You are the best example of why FGO should never have English voice acting, because the moment I hear someone try and emulate your speech pattern, I would uninstall. No one outside of India is going to read the 3,000 pages of your book to see why you're kind of interesting, when the average Fate fan can't read a Tower event. How are you a worse and less interesting villain than Snidely Whiplash? At this point, if I was a practicing Hindu, I would be offended by the idea that all of my female and some male deities are apparently all the same mediocre Japanese girl. They will do literally anything, then make your rider form good, huh? I could make a complaint that you started a trend of Annie servants being summer servants, but I'm not Reddit, so instead let's talk about how literally no one cares about any ascension of yours other than the first one, and it's mostly because they want to put pure prisms in your hat. You are functionally the product of incestuous saber breeding, to the point that the only original point about you is the animals in your first ascension, and even those are references. The only thing funnier than remembering that you canonically will never view the master in an affectionate way is that this is in place because your own artist wants your attention. The pedophile jokes are low-hanging fruit at this point, but I don't know how much respect I have left for Nasu, knowing that he likely requested you to become a naked giant. Imagine spanning time, space, and death to meet with us again, only to get put into the second archive for having awful skills and worse pants. A key example of if this was a boy with this personality, you would be one of the most loathed characters in the entire game. Gotta love having a summer servant with a swimsuit that literally never becomes playable. Whoever came up with your name needs to be made an example of, but first we need to get the guy who thought that making you the most cookie-cutter tsundere ever was okay. And just like that, all the controversy that was supposedly surrounding you disappeared, just like you did in the community's memory. Imagine spending days crafting 2 young soldier ascensions for someone in their prime, only for no one to care or use it outside of farming. If you spent a quarter of the time asking people in Chaldea to help with your ailment as you did complaining about it, you wouldn't have to worry about menstruation every month. There is no joke, you literally left your best friend in hell. Historically, you should be on par with the likes of Nobunaga and Kagetora, but all I remember is your lackluster Kit and Hunchback from a distance. It's kind of cool to have a character in the game who detects real-life NPCs, because anytime you aren't in your old man form, people just start chanting, "I drive." The game wanted you to be another community waifu, even having you show up with marriage papers, but instead you're just the butt of every really redundant American joke. It's just what everyone wanted, a Kagetora that is somehow even less interesting and expressive. The most memorable aspect of you is that the Marines sing Jingle Bells. I understand being held down by the mistakes of the past and all that, but the weight of your sins really don't feel that heavy when in the immediate following scene, you're scarfing down food and treating your master like an abused trad wife. It's kind of amazing that they let Ryda cook one of the hardest designs in Fate, only for FGO to take it away from you, and for you to be a mediocre and forgettable villain. You will literally grow into a massive corpse tree, but won't grow a personality. Lamenting the fact that you were born in the wrong time is not just something you should get over, but something you most certainly shouldn't glorify. There is so little to your character that your entire event is you recounting the same 3 lines and praying that Perseus shows up. If someone told me that Lasangel was in the pockets of the French monarchy to keep getting new versions of you printed, I'd believe it, but they need to start paying them more because they are killing you in the writing. I'm a big fan of the concept that Hassan is one of the most prominent assassins of their era, and yet people wanted a man with a spoon to appear instead of you. I've read your voice lines, and they really make the ending of OC2 mean less when you're still skulking in the halls of the Stormborder. Being the poster boy of an entire chapter only to be less memorable than the default Hassan is a hell of a feat. The majority of your fans have never played a game that you're actually in outside of FGO. Takeuchi is pretty notorious for making the most basic male protagonist designs, but this one takes the cake. It was very kind of Nasu to remind non-FGO fans that he likes FGO more. It took a team of archaeologists to dig up the 2 host characters featured, the deity you're based on, and the kit that they gave you. It must really suck knowing that the only reason that you were released when you were was to act as a band-aid for the really shitty decisions that were made. I saw more people excited about the fact that Neko Arc was in your NP than about you being released. I really don't know what people want me to say about you that isn't the most obvious thing ever, but could you please stand in a different pose? Making friends really isn't that hard so long as you aren't treating them like shit and talking about your crush who is married like you're some balding loser who never left their hometown after high school. No matter how many times they print you or how many new outfits you get, even straight men will choose the burly bear in your dress over you. It's great to see that you invented a whole new trait that will never be used outside of your C-tier kit. If we add any more acronyms, the game's shitty-ass coding is going to fall apart. It doesn't matter what the vocal minority of the Type Moon community says, you will always be inferior to the female version. Despite what I just said about your male version, I almost prefer him because you stand as a prime example that later Type Moon properties only know one kind of casting for a female lead. You were made with the intention to be used with a second copy of yourself and invent an entirely new system of farming that is actually really strong and efficient, but made irrelevant because literally no one bothered to roll for you or puts you on their support list. They were willing to hire multiple voice actors for disembodied voices attached to other servants, but they thought keeping you sounding like a squeaky toy was appropriate? You missed the boat on Minecraft memes by years, but I am still thankful that you released before the movie because I don't think I could mentally handle you quoting it. It took them almost an entire decade to finally print the perfect servant, only for you to be disregarded for your card typing. At this rate, the next Santa servant is going to be literally no one, that way we can just skip right to forgetting. It's amazing to see that we were able to craft a servant to exclusively be fan service for as many people as possible and still somehow falling short. Hey man, your anime was great. Wait, living proof that no matter what is made, the vocal minority of the community will do nothing but complain about every single detail, though they may be onto something with how you walk on your tits. Who? One of the most important figures in Japanese Buddhism, and incredibly important to the lore of other characters, reduced to a manga-loving stereotype. So y'all know that the gay or European thing is meant to be a joke, right? The only thing more pathetic than the obvious e-girl baiting is knowing that you have officially left your little sister alone in Chaldea. A servant with the makings and reputation to be a grand, relegated to being a side note 4-star that will be forgotten because a goth demon showed up. Hating MASH doesn't make you a good character, it makes you Twitter and Reddit. Really not a big fan of the precedent that dragons all have to look like little girls with no clothing. And that's all for now. This video was a reward for my donathon, so thank you to the following donors: Havenwing, Hot Dough, Scan and Dark, and Almighty Kurama. Thank you for the support. Check out all my other links below. Keep your chin up. Peace.